The air in the dusty saloon was thick with cigar smoke, the piano a tinny backdrop to the rough laughter of men gambling. Mavis moved through it all, serving drinks, each step a practiced weariness. You could see it in her eyes, a beauty dulled by the constant unwanted attention, the casual touches. "Hey there, pretty thing," a voice would slur, a hand grabbing her arm. "Another whiskey, and a smile for your favorite customer." She'd force it, that thin smile, pull away, pour, a nickel, always a nickel. Across the room he watched, leaning against a pillar, his hat shadowing his face. Caleb. Quiet. You could feel his gaze, though no one else seemed to notice its intensity. Harv, the saloon owner, his voice a gruff bark, would cut through the noise. "Mavis, clean up that spill, and look lively about it. You ain't paid to stand around." She'd sigh, almost silently, and grab a rag. I saw Caleb's jaw tighten then, just a fraction. Later, wiping the bar, a drunk stumbled into her, spilling his drink. "Watch it, girl, you clumsy thing." His hand reached out, lingering on her waist. She flinched, and then, a voice, quiet but firm, cut through the saloon's din. "Mister, take your hand off her." The drunk turned, surprised, saw Caleb's steady eyes, the unspoken warning. "Hey now," he stammered. "No need to get riled up. Just a little accident." "Accidents happen," Caleb replied, his voice still low. "Respect doesn't." The drunk grumbled and moved away. Mavis looked up at him then, a flicker of surprise, something like gratitude in her eyes. He just gave a slight nod, returning to his quiet watch. Later still, the saloon quieter, Mavis stacking glasses. He approached the bar. "Coffee," he said. Just that one word. She poured it. "Thank you," she murmured. "For earlier." He took the cup. "You didn't deserve that." Their eyes met, just for a moment. There was a sincerity in his gaze she wasn't used to. "It's how it is here," she said. "Doesn't mean it has to be," he replied, taking a sip, his gaze drifting before settling back on her. She stepped outside for a breath of air. He was there, leaning against a post, his paint horse tethered nearby. "It's a clear night," she offered. He looked up at the stars. "Aye. Peaceful." A long silence settled between them, not uncomfortable. "You don't talk much, do you?" she asked. "Some things don't need words," he said, looking at her, and she felt a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. The next day, Harv was at her again, berating her over nothing. "You call that clean? Do it again, and try to look like you're earning your keep for once." Caleb watched from a table, his fists clenching, a subtle thing. Later, he went to Harvard. "I need to talk to you." Harv scoffed. "About what, Silent One? You looking for more watered-down whiskey?" "About Mavis." "What about her?" "She's just a girl who pours drinks." "She's more than that, and she deserves to be treated with respect." Harv laughed. "Respect? For a saloon girl? You got your head in the clouds, Cowboy." "Everyone deserves respect." There was a quiet intensity about Caleb that made Harv uneasy. She was sweeping the porch when he walked up, leading his horse. "Mavis, I'm leaving town." She stopped sweeping, a hint of disappointment in her eyes. "Oh. Would you like to come with me?" She looked at him, surprised. "Come with you?" "Where?" "Anywhere you want. Somewhere you'll be treated like you matter. Like a queen." Her eyes welled up slightly. No one had ever spoken to her like this. "You hardly know me," she whispered. "I know enough. I see you, Mavis." He held out his hand. She hesitated, just for a moment, glancing back at the dusty saloon, her prison. Then she looked back at his steady, kind eyes. A small smile touched her lips. "Okay," she said, taking his hand. He helped her onto his horse. He looked back at the saloon. a silent promise in his eyes. They rode side by side across the vast plains, the setting sun casting long shadows. She looked peaceful now, a new hope in her expression. He glanced at her, a rare, gentle smile on his face. Sometimes the quietest souls see the truest beauty, and sometimes a silent man can see the queen hidden beneath the dust. The rhythm of the horse's hooves became a new kind of quiet for Mavis, a stark contrast to the clamor of the saloon. The vastness of the plain stretched out before them, an endless canvas painted with the hues of the setting sun. For the first time in a long time, Mavis felt a sense of space, both around her and within. Caleb rode steadily beside her, his presence a silent reassurance. As dusk deepened, he guided them towards a small cluster of trees nestled near a winding creek. He dismounted, his movements economical and practiced, then turned to help Mavis down. "We'll camp here for the night," he said, his voice low and calm. He tended to the horses first, then gathered some fallen branches. Mavis watched him, the flickering firelight dancing across his rugged features. There was a competence about him, a quiet strength that she found herself drawn to. Back in the saloon, she'd been surrounded by men who took and demanded. Caleb simply acted, with a purpose that seemed to include her well-being. He offered her a piece of dried meat and a canteen of water. They ate in comfortable silence, the crackling fire the only sound between them. Later, as the stars began to pepper the inky sky, Mavis found herself speaking, something she rarely did at the saloon beyond taking orders. "It's different," she said, gesturing to the immense darkness around them. "Quiet." Caleb nodded, looking up at the constellations. "The quiet can be good." "I'm not used to it," she admitted. "Always noise, always hands." A shadow crossed Caleb's face. "You won't find that here." His gaze met hers across the small fire, and in his eyes, she saw a fierce protectiveness, a genuine respect that resonated deep within her. It wasn't a lustful gaze, or a dismissive one. It was simply seeing her. They settled down for the night. Caleb spread his bedroll a respectful distance from hers. Mavis lay looking up at the stars, a sense of peace she hadn't known existed slowly washing over her. The vastness that had initially felt daunting now felt liberating. Their journey continued the next day, a silent companionship growing between them with each mile. Caleb was a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes. He made sure she was comfortable, that she had enough to eat and drink. He pointed out landmarks, shared small observations about the land and the wildlife. Mavis found herself watching him, learning his quiet ways, the subtle shifts in his expression. One afternoon, they came across a small, abandoned cabin nestled in a hidden hollow. "Might be a good place to rest for a spell," Caleb said, dismounting. The cabin was dusty and worn, but the roof seemed sound. Together, they set about cleaning it, a shared task that felt surprisingly natural. Mavis swept while Caleb cleared debris outside. There was a sense of partnership in their quiet work. As they sat outside the cleaned cabin that evening, watching the sunset paint the sky in fiery hues, Mavis felt a lightness she hadn't experienced before. She looked at Caleb, his silhouette framed against the vibrant colors. "Thank you," she said softly. He turned his gaze to her. "For what?" "For seeing me," she replied, her voice a little choked with emotion. "For this." She gestured around them to the quiet cabin, the open land, the peacefulness she now felt. A rare, gentle smile touched Caleb's lips. "You were always there to be seen, Mavis." In that moment, under the vast starlit sky, a connection deepened between them, unspoken but profoundly felt. It wasn't the fleeting, transactional interactions she was used to. This was something real, something built on quiet respect and a shared journey away from the shadows.